When you're in the speaking test, I mentioned in earlier videos that the examiner is listening for certain skills in your speaking. Things like fluency, vocabulary, grammatical range, and pronunciation. But really, this is not the key to getting a high score. The most important thing is to sound as natural as possible when you're speaking English. The more you worry about specific skills when you're in the test, the more forced and unnatural your English might sound. One thing that native speakers use a lot in everyday speech is storytelling. If you're able to tell a story well, then your English will probably sound a lot more natural. When we tell stories about what has happened to us in the past, we will be focusing on remembering what happened and communicating that to the listener. Because you're just remembering and speaking, there should be more feeling and expression in your voice, and it will sound more natural. So in part 2, it is useful if you can include a short story to answer one of the questions, or even a long story that covers all of the questions. When you're preparing ideas for each of the categories of part 2 tasks I mentioned in earlier videos, person, place, object, event, activity, and favourite, you should try to think of stories you could tell about each of the specific things you've decided to prepare for. For instance, if you've chosen a person to prepare ideas for, then think of a story you can tell about that person. For each of the specific people, places, events, favourites, objects and activities you prepare ideas for, you should be thinking of a story to fit with each one. Once you've thought of stories, then you must practice telling them. I'll just give you a quick example of a short story that can be used to fit the topic card in the previous video. Describe a foreign country or other distant place you have been to on holiday. You should say when you went there, where it is, what you did when you were there. You can see I've added a third cue, which can be used to tell a quick story. So, I'll just show you an example of a story which follows the response to the first 2 questions in the previous video and answers the third question. On one of the days during the 2-week trip, I decided to go scuba diving. I woke up early in the morning and with a friend went down to the jetty where a boat was waiting for the people who had booked a 1-day scuba diving outing. We jumped on the boat and once everyone was there, the boat went out to the diving site. We started to prepare ourselves, putting on all the gear we needed. The wetsuit, flippers, face mask and other equipment. Once we were ready, we jumped in and slowly descended under the water to the coral reef. The water was crystal clear and we could see so many different kinds of fish. It just felt absolutely incredible. This is just a quick story to cover one of the questions. If you can add something like this to your part 2 response in the test, then it should not only help you talk for longer, but also help you sound a bit more natural. When we speak in our own language, we tell stories a lot. When you see classmates or workmates on Monday, you probably tell them what you did at the weekend. Or when you get home from studying or working, you might tell family members what happened during the day. Storytelling is just a normal part of communicating. And if you can do it well, it shows your speaking skills are at a good level. Try practicing telling different stories connected to the types of part 2 tasks you'll get in the test. Hopefully you can practice storytelling and use it in part 2 of the speaking test. Thanks for watching. If you found the video useful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos.